Emerge Outreach Programmes provides arts and health opportunities demonstrating how the arts can contribute to the health and well-being of individuals and communities. Our personalised programmes lead to a final project demonstrating the developmental achievements of our client through the creative arts mediums to their friends and family and peers. Projects can range from an art exhibition to a short film or a multimedia performance event.
Our story begins in London, in the year 1920. London's black market trade is controlled by an eccentric, infamous gangster known as Dirty Ben and his gang, the Stockman Group. He has an iron grip on all of the trade and criminal activity in London and operates from the facility under his legitimate business, a department store named Bargains Galore. In his latest bid to show off his power, he commissions the building of a rocket ship in an attempt to travel forward in time and gain advantage on his business competitors. After setting all of his affairs in order, he finalizes his preparations and heads off to the site agreed upon, the site of what he hopes will be the launch site of the greatest achievement in the history of the Stokes family and indeed the Stockman Group. It would cement his place firmly in the history books as one of the greatest businessmen the world had ever seen.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Was it beautiful? It was just me as well, just me only. Aha! I see what the others have all left out. Benset's calling mission control, please. Benset's calling mission control, come in, please. Benset's calling mission control, come in, please. Oh dear, that's they're all dead. I feel like I'm in a washing machine. Oh no. Ah!
On his journey in space, Ben attempts to contact Mission Control, but to no avail. He then fails to notice the warnings on the control panel of his spacecraft, and too late realizes that his ship is on an irreversible course with a black hole. Despite his efforts, he is sucked through the black hole into the year 3024. He finds himself in a strange, experimental facility being run by scientists. After speaking with the head scientist, Ben is given some shocking news. He is told that the human race have been forced to live under the surface of the Earth due to pollution destroying the atmosphere. When he gets a chance to sit down and absorb the information, he is visited by the commander of the facility, Captain Penelope Wanderlust.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Captain Wanderlust, and you are?
My name is I told you about scientist that. My name is Mr. Benjamin Stokes, London, England, 1920.
This is so exciting. You literally dropped from our laps from the stars. And this is what we've always been waiting for. You're from the past.
So my scientist said, I was in underground underneath the Sahara Desert, and when he told me, I nearly fainted.
Yeah, he was telling you the truth. When they, but behind the desert.
Sorted. What are you talking about, woman?
Exactly that. Earth. The humans formed these colonies, but we can't contact the other colonies. We'd assume we're the only ones left.
The only ones left living here?
We'd assume so, yes. If we go to the surface, the people who are underground will immediately will turn to slush. So we have to do it from the safety of our layer.
So, what are you going to do about it?
Our main project, growing plant life, to sort out the planet's atmosphere, to make sure that the temperature, the plants can survive the heat of the planet. So the project is called Mission Bark, the Sound of Dogs. I won't tell you why, I don't want to spoil the surprise.
Following his conversation with Captain Wanderlust, Ben reflects on his past. He realizes that in his greedy efforts to further his business, he has lost everything that was most dear to him. It makes him think about his estranged relationship with his once closest friend, a shopkeeper called Charlie Selzit. He has not spoken to Charlie in years, once again due to Ben's greed and ignorance. He wonders about the connection between his current predicament and his poor choices in the past. Ben then recalls a conversation he once had with Charlie, upon Ben reaching a very special milestone in his life.
I don't know how I was expected to live here. It's all strange and the wrong way round. We've got the most strange and peculiar clothes. But oh Charlie, that clock you made, I know it was homemade, it was also one of a kind unique. I can never ever possibly send it English ever again. Hello Charlie.
Oh,
Well, you asked me to meet you here for the shop.
well, I had to chuck a few things into the warehouse. Come on, thanks.
Don't reach me.
So, you know what day it is today?
It's the 29th of June 1920s, what do you ask?
You know, you really have to take some time away from your desk once in a while.
What are you talking about?
It's your 50th birthday, Ben.
Well, so of course I've completely forgotten.
Well, knowing you as well as I do, that's why I thought I'd invite you here, so I can give you this.
Why, it's a clock, it's beautiful, Troy. How did you manage to get hold of it?
Oh, don't worry about that. But you like it, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm so glad. Hopefully, it will remind you to take some time for yourself once in a while.
Very, very much. Thank you very much, Charlie.
You've got so many dreams, Ben, and I'd hate to see you stuck in a place like this forever. Follow your dreams and reach for the stars.
Okay.
Remember that.
Oh well, Charlie, I did as you've asked. I've reached for the stars and have followed my dreams. Now I fear that there's no for me to get home ever again.
After his flashback to his conversation with Charlie, Ben realizes that the clock that Charlie made for him was the item that powered his spaceship and allowed him to visit the future, which enabled him to follow his dreams and shoot for the stars, as Charlie put it. He is then visited by Captain Wanderlust, who shows him to a luxurious cabin gifted to him by the captain and the other leaders of the facility, a place to call home. It is here that Ben starts to wonder if the facility is all that bad. The residents have all been extremely kind to him when he has done nothing in return for them. He finds himself thinking about London less and less, and more about this mysterious captain who seems so eager to encourage him to stay. She promises to show him the research labs containing the main project. She didn't want to give anything away, but she said that it was named Mission Bark, the Sound of Dogs, by the scientists working on it, and supposedly they hope that it will be the key in restoring the planet's protective atmosphere allowing the human race to once more live above the surface.
Come in, please. Why, Captain Plenty Wanderlust. You almost didn't recognise you. You got your hair in such a lovely colour.
Thank you. What do you think of your new cabin?
Oh, it's so many gadgets and gizmos and things that we have for always and ever and today.
Yeah. I'll come on and show you a new project.
Okay, I look forward to coming to see that. Wow, I heard the rain was trees growing in an underground rainforest. How did you do that? Let me get sunlight, fresh air or water?
So the project is called The Sound of Bark. Because music makes them grow faster, and when they sing, it sounds like barking dogs.
What is that? Is that you singing?
No, that is music makes the trees grow faster. So we decided. And it makes the bark stronger, and we're trying to obviously so they can survive the planet's atmosphere.
After seeing the Sound of Dogs project, Ben now understands the immense community effort that is being put into reversing the damage that has been done to the Earth by humans of centuries past. He doesn't notice it, but the longer he spends with these future people, the less he thinks about his past. He forgets about hurting people's livelihoods and focuses more instead on working as part of a team towards something that is greater than all of them. It becomes a matter of working towards the survival of the human race. The next morning, Ben is summoned to the temple, the community meeting place, to discuss his future within the community. After meeting with the district elders, it is revealed that the head of the police force, Detective Albert Shuffles, has been building a case against Ben and remands him into custody, overriding Captain Wanderlust's authority on the matter. He takes Ben to a holding facility where he will interrogate Ben further regarding his intentions in the underground facility, his family, and most worryingly of all, his criminal past. Ben hopes that after being questioned, the detective will see that his past is not something that he is proud of, and even the steps that it took for him to get there were not entirely of his own making.
Oh, Detective Shuffles, remind me of somebody familiar.
This isn't about me. This is about you.
Well, you wanted to ask me some questions about something.
So, what happened to your family? There's nothing in your file, and the last entry is that they sold the house you grew up in and then they vanished.
They sold the house and went on the run. So I was left to defend for myself. So I spoke to my friend about it. It's a kid in an old department. They're trying down to the department store. Go there and make a home for yourself. Which I did.
So, this store that you moved into and made a home for yourself in, is this the store that you renamed Bargains Galore?
Yes, that's right. And when I talked about the store throughout the whole world, kings and queens all royalties claimed to buy everything. You know, the old shop would go to the poor and the homeless.
So, how did a legitimate, successful business like Bargains Galore end up being the hub for your criminal empire?
I'll give you one word, officer. Family! One day, my father and mother must have all turned up at the store. Came and said to me in a very cocky way, "Hey, how pleased and proud we are of you," they said. I could see through their eyes that they were terribly lying. And so my father said he wanted to go into partnership with me. I said I already had a part, and I said I can't take anyone else on. And I said that my partner works for the police. So my superintendent in the meeting when he was saying to me, "Listen here, boy. You do something alright when you're on the site like you know what I mean?" So no choice but to go to see him about it the next day. Oh, where is he? Where's that Charlie Selznick got to? You wanted to meet him here at this time of day. Oh, there you are, Charlie.
Hello, Ben. You asked to meet me here. Everything all right?
I've decided to buy you out.
What?
I've decided to buy you out, Charlie.
Talking about you. You're my business partner, but you don't own anything.
And Charlie, don't make this any harder than it has to be. Think about it. You could retire and live in another country with all the money in the world.
Just last week we were talking about, buying another shop together.
Well, I can't explain it, Charlie, but it's for your own good.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben, but I'm not going anywhere.
Well, I'm sorry, Charlie, but you don't have a choice. You see, last night I made some phone calls, and now we are dealing in black market stolen empire goods. We stole an empire for stolen goods on the black market, and your name is on everything. Because the press ever got to hear of it, your son, the superintendent, would be in very serious trouble and could probably even lose his job.
What? You can't do this. Well, besides, your name's all over everything. It's got nothing to do with me. I'll just go to the police.
Well, I'm sorry, Charlie. Like you said, I don't own anything anyway. Your name's all over everything. Building leases, vehicle contracts, store deliveries, contracts with other business companies. Your name's all over everything, so I'm afraid, Charlie. You can't just but tell me the business.
In all my years, I've never met anyone as cold and heartless as you, Ben Stokes. You're never going to find peace or love or anything like that.
Sorry about this, Charlie.
You can keep your empty apologies. I raised you like you were my own son, and this is how you repay me. You're nothing but a cold, heartless criminal, Ben Stokes, and I want nothing more to do with you.
Ben finishes his account of the events that led to him starting the Stockman Group, during which he tells Detective Shovels that the true reason behind pushing Charlie out of the business was to protect Charlie from his terrible father. Shovels stops the interrogation and speaks with Ben off the record. He explains that he had gone away and done some research, and confirmed, although it seemed outrageous and ridiculous, that the infamous 1920s gangster Dirty Ben had arrived in the future, and it was all he needed to build his case. After wondering out loud why Shovels had been so adamant to build a case against him at all, Shovels reveals that he is in fact Albert Selzit, a direct descendant of Charlie Selzit, the man who Ben had seemingly swindled out of his family business. And it had been the legacy of every Selzit since to bring Ben and his family to justice. Shovels eventually calls the interview to a close, saying that he needs some time to ponder all of the information he has received. Before he leaves, he asks Ben what happened to his family, the original criminals of the Stockman Group. Ben reveals that they were eventually caught and brought to justice, being sentenced to death for their crimes. He says that the newspaper headline had quoted the ruling judge of their case, saying, "They are irrefutably and irretrievably wicked, rotten to their very cores. They would continue to spread their vile influence throughout London if not brought to a stop. Therefore I rule that they are guilty on all counts and are hereby sentenced to death.
They will hang by their necks until dead, and may the devil take them.
Shovels leaves Ben, saying he will return tomorrow morning with his own judgment.
Ben,
Yes, can I help you, Shovels?
I've made a decision. I was hard at thought last night, struggling with what to do about you. And then I realised that I was having so much trouble with the fact that your family did horrible things to mine. And then I realised it's exactly that. It's your family, not you. And so I realised I have no quarrel with you. You're free to go. I'm turning over a new leaf.
Albert! Can I have a word, please?
What is it?
I believe your parents had a department store many years ago called Bargains Galore.
Right.
Well, this key, it opens the safe, which has been opened underneath the ground of the superstore. Well, that's all gone now. It should be there unless it's been moved. Everything is for your use alone. And only you can have it.
Don't know what to say, Ben.
You don't need to say anything. Don't tell me just to don't say anything.
Thank you.
Well, that was a grand gesture you just did.
Well, it was good in a way. It was all his entire family's fortune. He was entitled to have it all back.
So what are you going to do for your brand new freedom, Ben?
I was happy to ask the woman I love to be my wife.
Well, in that case, I won't send in your wine then.
No, you.
Me?
Yes, you. But since I have been here, you've been a bit kind, cheerful and thoughtful to helping me out.
So are we going out?
Yes, we've got dinner ready for tonight.
How did you manage that in a police cell?
Well, as you knew, I've worked with a criminal family, so I know a trick or two. Ask you to be my wife. And to take your name instead of mine, I'm going to be buried in the puppet's tribute where the ancestors have gone.
We don't do that tradition anyway. We usually keep our own names. But if you want to use my name, you'd be more than welcome. Ben, can you do me a favour? There's a chief scientist, the ancestor of that officer, your scientist, wants to talk to you. There's been a breakthrough with the tree of life.
It seems the Detective Shovels decided that Ben protecting Charlie was enough to excuse him for his part in the Stockman group. He releases Ben and declares that the debt is paid. However, Ben gives Shovels a key. He says that a safe far under the ground where Bargains Galore department store once stood in London, there is a safe that contains the wealth of the business empire, a wealth that belongs to Charlie's family. Ben leaves the holding facility and Captain Wanderlust is waiting for him. Ben plucks up the courage to speak his mind to the captain. He says quite plainly that she has helped him to reform himself into the man that he always wished he could be, and that he wants to spend the rest of his life with her. He asks the proud captain for her hand in marriage, which she excitedly accepts, forging an alliance that would prove to be a key resource in the survival of the human race. She then asks him to visit the Tree of Life, the oldest and sole surviving tree of the final flare, which had burrowed underground into a chamber. Upon arriving at the chamber, the chief scientist tells Ben to place his hands onto the roots, and as soon as he does so, a voice fills his head.
You have come, Benjamin Stokes. I sense a change within you, a light that was not there before. I have been deep in slumber for many years, until you came into my chamber and woke me. During my slumber, I discovered a power within me that I did not possess before, and I finally understand your purpose. You will be a messenger. Through me, you will contact the people of Earth before the final flare took hold of the surface. We will connect with the past to prevent the present. It is the only way to prevent the devastation that has taken place and the tragedy of the human race that is still yet to come. If we do not fix this now, the power of the sun will destroy the Earth and all of its inhabitants. It is you who must do this, Benjamin. It has always been you. That is why you are here, and it is why you must do this. They will tell of the devastation of man for thousands of years, but they will tell stories of their redemption for far longer.
After Ben spoke with the Tree of Life, together they sent a message through time and space to the people of Earth in the past. They were warned of their future and the disaster that befell the planet, and were told that if they did not alter their current path, that this would be their fate. As a result of this message, the world was transformed. Over decades and centuries, the damage done to the planet was slowly reversed. Fossil fuels and non-renewable energy sources were outlawed, and the human race learned once again how to live in harmony with the gifts that they were given. The ozone layer slowly replenished, and global temperatures eventually returned to their natural levels. Ice began to refreeze in the North and South Poles. Sea levels began to fall once again, and wildlife that was close to extinction began to flourish once more. With their changed attitudes, the human race began to look inwards and discovered that it was their selfishness and greed that had led them to this place, and they vowed to never let it happen again. Whilst years of research and investigation had been put into discovering the whereabouts of Ben and Penelope Wanderlust, the mysterious messengers from the future were never found. History books were written about them, songs were sung of their adventures and their noble efforts to save the planet. But nobody truly knew what happened to the famous captain of the fight for planet Earth and the man who fell into her arms from the stars. Back in their own timeline, Ben was frequently reminded of the conversation that he had with the Tree of Life. Once the message had been sent to the past, the tree gave her final words, a legacy for the future peoples of the planet.
To ensure that history does not repeat itself, remember this, Benjamin Stokes. Like us, all the world needs is love.